a lot of huge talking points from this weekend. And let's start off with this interesting one. It's about a Super Eagles legend, and that man is John Obi Mikel. I mean, he announced his retirement on his official social media pages this past weekend. The last time he played was in Kuwait. We thought we was going to, secure that retirement money for a long period of time, but he didn't get to play for a long period of time. But I mean, he got some bucks in even the few stints, the few spells, the few games he played there in Kuwait. So, but he came out to announce his retirement. It happened this past weekend. He put out this statement on his official social media handle. He said, "There is a saying that all good things must come to an end, and for my professional football career, that day is today. I look back at the past 20 years of my career, and I must say that I am very satisfied with all that I was able to achieve, and more importantly, the human it has helped shape. All of this would not have been possible without the unwavering support of my family, managers, club, coaches, teammates, and most importantly, my ever loyal fans. You supported me through my highs and lows, even on days that I did not live up to your expectations. I say a big thank you. I would also like to encourage everyone who I may have inspired one way or the other in the course of my career to never give up on their dreams. For every time you think about quitting, remind yourself why you started. This is not a goodbye. It is the start of another journey, another chapter of my life. I look forward to what the future holds, and I hope you would walk with me. Thank you." It was a lengthy statement on his official social media pages. So, it's called it. He's hung up his boots. John Obi Mikel has retired from professional football. Benedict, let me start with you. I mean, Obi Mikel, a Super Eagles legend, has won a lot of trophies, wherever he plays. What's your take on Mikel's career so far? What's your favorite Mikel Obi moment? I mean, he's played in Chelsea, he's played at several clubs. How would you sum up his career, and how should I say, is he a sad thing for you to see that he's coming to retire from professional football after such a successful career?
Well, first of all, you have to talk about his early days where he was third in the FIFA World Cup best, where he was second behind Lionel Messi and Taito coming third. That was a good one for him to start off. Then moving on to Chelsea, he had things really going smooth for him. A lot of trophies, although I don't feel he influenced much. Happened to be like Casemiro, who's in a very stable team and all of that. But what I don't like about Mikel Obi is towards the end of his career, he could have played in a much more honorable position for the retirement money. When he moved to the lower side in the English Premier League, I wasn't impressed with that. But summing up his career entirely, I give him a 7/10. Because of the trophies he's won, and also the African Cup of Nations 2013, a memorable one for him. I think Stevie Keshi was still alive back then, and all of that. But summing up the career, 7/10.
So, what's your favorite Mikel Obi moment? What's your favorite moment for you since watching him?
I don't have any favorite moment. I'm not a big fan of him, but the African Cup of Nations which he won is one of my best favorite moments for me.
All right, let me bring in the elevator one of sport. I mean, it all started from that. When we get to know Mikel, he was playing in Norway, Lyn Oslo, precisely, and he was linked to Manchester United. It all started from that tussle between Manchester United and Chelsea. At some point, we all thought he was going to Manchester United, but he eventually ended up at Chelsea, and the rest, they say, is history. Won trophies upon trophies. When it comes to the national team, won the Nations Cup, was a bronze medalist at the Summer Olympics in 2016. It's been a successful career for John Obi Mikel. We were here on the show. I think we talked about Mikel. I asked you, what was your stance on what would you rate Mikel in terms of midfielders that played for Nigeria? That was when the Olise thing came in and stuff like that. Now he's official. He's retired. Sum up John Obi Mikel's career from your own angle and tell us.
Well, I came to notice Mikel Obi in 2003 because one of my players that I coached, I invited him to the WhatsApp group that we are in, the Elevated TV family group, some time ago. Charles Amaikwe was my former captain, was in that team that lost out in the World Cup in Costa Rica to the toast of coin. And that was the moment where I like, wow, this kid is good. His approach to the game, the way he receives the ball, he was playing as a number 10, and then eventually Lyn Oslo, Manchester United signed the contract, and then moved on. There are a lot of bright moments. 2007 FA Cup finals against Manchester United, that was beautiful. There are a lot of game people. Benedict said he didn't influence the game. I don't know what you mean by didn't influence the game, but that's not up for an argument. It's not up for debate. You are entitled to your opinion. But I think that it was a very big influence in the game, both for Chelsea and for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Part of the 9 goals that Jude Ojo scored in the qualifiers to the 2019 African Cup of Nations, Mikel Obi was a huge part of most of those goals, and a whole lot of other players. I remember when he made his debut the same day with Christian Obodo, came in from the bench, and he scored that goal, off a corner kick, and a whole lot. But the biggest influence that I think he made for Nigerian football was on the road to the 2016 Olympics. The reason why I say that was because I was deeply involved in that bronze medal winning team. I could say it. Some people would argue, because we like to argue, and people are like, what have you done for Nigeria? I could say that I played a 75% role in making Nigeria even qualifying and winning that bronze medal in Rio 2016. But what Mikel Obi did by, first off, making sure that they didn't enter that small plane that could be blown away over the Pacific or Atlantic Ocean was nice. What he did in camp by using his own money to pay for the players, take care of them, do all those things that he did. It's not something that is normal with Nigerian players. Those were great things that a player like Mikel Obi did, and I think in terms of medals, trophies won as well, he's second in the all-time list behind Kanu Nwankwo, and maybe third, Fernando George is third. So when we look at our national heroes, honor roll, Mikel Obi is always going to be up there as the top 2 or top 3 best Nigerian players ever to come out of the game. So I mean, if you play 10 years, what every player wants is the opportunity to play football, go to Europe. There is no rule that says you must play for big clubs. I'm not saying if it comes you shouldn't take it, but if you play more than 10 years, 11 years at Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, if you've done that, you've done your level best. Anything else that comes in is a bonus, because I think that professional football career, if you play 10 years at the top level, any other thing that follows, well, you just say, "Oh, glory be to God. This is all I ever wanted." Okay, and in those years that he stayed at Chelsea, he really did win everything there is to be won. So whether it's the Champions League, whether it's the UEFA Cup, whether it's the league title, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, whatever it is that needs to be won, he won. Congratulations to him. What comes up next now is what we look up for. I don't know whether it's going to be coaching, it's going to be scouting, it's going to be management, it's going to be trying to get NFF presidency, which that's one I would advise against. But any other thing, it's fine. I'm always going to wish him luck, but he should also spend some time with the twins and the rest of the family. The life of a footballer is very, very tedious. You travel a whole lot, take some time to rest, and then decide what next to do with his life. But as a football player, he's going to be seen as a Nigerian great and an African great and a legend of the game when you start mentioning African players.
All right, it all started at Lyn Oslo in Norway. I mean, that was his first sojourn out of Nigeria.
Yep.
Then from Lyn to Chelsea, then to Tianjin Teda in China, then to Middlesbrough, to Turkey with Trabzonspor. We all saw the story. We all heard the story of how he left Turkey with Trabzonspor. Then he went to Stoke City. Then from Stoke City, he went to Kuwait, and that's where it ends. So he retires at the age of 35 with so many honors to his name. Like you mentioned, in Chelsea, won the Premier League, won the FA Cup, the Community Shield as well, won the Champions League. I mean, one of his biggest moment of his career. I remember that final against Bayern Munich as well. He also won the Europa League. Then for Trabzonspor in Turkey, he won the Turkish Cup. For the Super Eagles, he won the African Cup of Nations in 2013, where he was also named among the CAF Team of the Year. And he was quite a lot of laurels in his career. He won the Summer Olympics bronze medal in 2016, and he made the African Cup of Nations Team of the tournament as well in 2013. So he's safe to say he's amongst the most decorated Super Eagles player of all time. And it's one thing to play football, and it's another thing to win trophies in your career span. So at 35, Mikel Obi hangs his boots, retires at 35, and like you said, we don't know what next. But where do you think he's going to go next? We saw him in Nigeria, did some grassroots thing, trying to spot talents and all that. But if I should ask you, at the first glance, and looking at the personality of somebody like Mikel Obi, where do you think he's going to go next in the game?
The,
as well?
the options are not too many. Mikel Obi will not, I most likely will not make a good coach. I don't think getting a coaching badge. Mikel Obi is not a talker. He's a very shy
Yeah,
person.
sure, yeah.
Mikel Obi is the kind of guy that you will mistake for a snob, and so that might just also be his greatest undoing. But I think he'll make a good scout. He's talented. He doesn't, spew out negative words to players. So obviously, will make a good scout. But I don't think coaching will be good because the options will not be suitable for him. The kind of money he's got, there is no team in Nigeria who want to coach, right? He doesn't belong to the class of '94 whose money is like wet tissue paper. He belongs to the group of people who really made good money from football. No matter the standard of the economy, made good money. How he invested is now a different conversation. I don't think that there is any club in Nigeria right now that can employ Mikel and say, come on, well, football director is not a thing that works in Nigeria. And the way Africa is, we hardly, give people from other countries the chances to come and be football director. And then football director is also something you want to go to school for. I don't know if Mikel Obi will want to go to school. So the best option for him is maybe a scout, and then maybe a group of, form a group of team to manage other players' career and see how it goes. Because if you say he wants to coach, for instance, there's no club in Europe that will give him the coaching job. It's going to be very, very difficult because of the color of his skin, not because of his qualification. You see how black players struggle. They're mentioning that, Bruno Lage was fired, and people are already mentioning Rooney. Nobody's mentioning the black players. They're talking about Brendan Rodgers getting fired. The same conversation. They're mentioning Rooney, John Terry. Nobody's mentioning the black players. Black players always, struggle to get the top job or even the lower job. Okay, so at the end of the day, Mikel Obi, knowing that he comes from a country that doesn't even have a league in the first place, it's almost impossible for you to dream and say, oh, Mikel Obi should go get a coaching badge and come. It would just be a certificate or a badge that you get without really having any function out of it. But I just hope that whatever he decides to do, he finds happiness doing it, and he does it with great fulfillment. He could also work with FIFA. He could also work with FIFA. He could also work with CAF on the subcommittee basis, not at the higher level that most of our players always aim for, that they would never get because they're not qualified. It's not just when it comes to the administrative side. It's not really about ability to play football. It's about ability to play politics and the bag of money that you're willing to spend, and spend wisely. Footballers don't have that kind of temperament, that kind of education, so it's going to be very hard on that front.
All right, from all of us here, we want to wish John Obi Mikel a happy retirement and all the best in his future endeavors, wherever he decides to move on to next.